A lot has transpired in Ukraine in the last 24 hours. The capital city has seen one of the biggest attacks since the invasion. Moscow claims it has destroyed Patriot air defense systems. And Kiev says it has shot down all overnight missiles. Now, what really happened? Amid the double narratives emerging, let's tell you what happened overnight. The residents woke up to the sound of sirens and missiles falling. Firefighters were seen working at areas damaged by remains of Russian missiles. Kiev saw its 8th air raid this month. City officials say the intense air attack saw drones, cruise and ballistic missiles as well. Russia launched this air attack after a weeks-long hiatus. Now let's go beyond the battleground, cross the Russian and Ukrainian borders and reach the US state of Virginia. This is home to the CIA headquarters, the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States. It released this video just hours ago. The video is titled, "Why I Made Contact with the CIA, My Decision." The short video depicts a Russian bureaucrat and a woman at home with a child, both troubled by the invasion. The video suggests that people can take action to make things better, and that is by providing information to the CIA. It even shows a step-by-step guide to access the dark web and how to contact the CIA.
Мы легко поддаемся лжи. Но мы ведь знаем, какова наша действительность. Реальность, в которой мы живем, и реальность, о которой мы говорим шепотом.
Now, as you just heard, the audio is in Russian and has a Russian text laid throughout the video. So it is a direct message to who? To the Russians. The US agency is trying to convince Russians to leak their country's secrets. The video has an emotional touch on purpose. It aims to target people who are frustrated with the situation under President Vladimir Putin. The CIA is hoping to contact people from very specific sectors like intelligence, diplomatic, science and technology. US says it is not seeking to provoke a revolt against the regime, but it has already captured Kremlin's attention. Officials in Moscow are calling it a Western spy operation. Special services are already on it. They are monitoring the dark web space for any activity in this regard. Now, this video comes 15 months into the war. And on more than one occasion, President Vladimir Putin has warned the traitors will be punished. Just last month, the parliament even voted to increase the penalty for state treason from 20 years to life in prison. The war in Ukraine has been raging for over a year, and to deter Russia's plan to invade Ukraine, scores of nations imposed sanctions on it, thinking this might stop the Russian aggression. But despite the sanctions being imposed on Moscow, the country's economy has been comparatively stable. According to a report filed by the New York Times, despite the sanctions, the Russian aviation industry was still able to import aircraft parts. Now, let me tell you, these aircraft parts are from the Western nations, manufactured by the American company Boeing and the French company Airbus. The newspaper also reported last year, thousands of batches of aircraft parts were successfully shipped to Russia. And to our surprise, the Russian companies that imported the aircraft parts include sanctioned airlines like Rossiya, Aeroflot, S7 Airlines and UTER. Russian customs data shows that millions of dollars of aircraft parts made by Boeing, Airbus and other Western companies were sent to Russia during the first 8 months of 2022. Within 8 months, $14.4 million worth of US-made aircraft parts were shipped to Russia. Now, how did Russian aviation manage to import these parts? According to the report, this was possible due to the work of illicit companies by shuffling goods through a series of straw buyers, often in the Middle East and Asia. But now the question arises, did Boeing go against the US sanctions? Boeing said it had fully complied with the curbs. It even suspended providing parts, maintenance and technical support for companies based in Russia in the spring of 2022. Moreover, the double standards of West can be seen here again when they accused India of reselling Russian oil to Europe. European Union's High Representative for Foreign Policy, Josep Borrell, said the European Union should crack down on India reselling Russian oil into Europe as refined fuels, including diesel. Now, in the past year, India emerged as a top buyer of Russian oil, which has been rejected by Western nations. Access to cheap Russian crude has boosted output and profits at Indian refineries, enabling them to export refined products competitively to Europe and take bigger market share. Josep Borrell further added any mechanism to stem the flow of Russian oil would need to be implemented by the national authorities, suggesting that the European Union could target buyers of Indian refined fuels they believe are derived from Russian crude. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz believes influential countries such as India, Vietnam and South Africa hesitate at criticizing Russia's invasion of Ukraine because they believe international principles are not applied equally.
These questions deserve an answer. When I talk to leaders from those countries, many assure me that they are not questioning the underlying principles of our international order. What they are struggling with is the unequal application of those principles. What they expect is representation on equal terms and an end to Western double standards.
So is the West having double standards? From putting sanctions on Moscow to blaming countries to do their business with Russia. Russia is still able to do business with companies from the West.